Let's try an analogy. Imagine your investments aren't in stocks or bonds, but in a digital house. A house built entirely out of code. This is basically what decentralized finance, or DeFi, is. You're storing your most valuable digital assets inside these houses. But here's the big question. Are they actually safe? Because when these digital houses get broken into, the losses, well, they're not small.
And I'm not talking about hypotheticals. I'm talking about $2.6 billion. That's how much money has vanished in 2024 alone because of hacks and flaws in these smart contracts. It's a massive number that really shows you just how high the stakes are in this new financial world.
And here's the real kicker. Unlike the apps on your phone that get updated all the time, smart contracts are usually set in stone once they go live on the blockchain, what we call mainnet. There's no undo button, no calling tech support. A single mistake in the code is permanent, and it can leave the front door wide open for a catastrophic, irreversible hack.
So if you can't just patch a mistake after the fact, how can you trust any of this? How do you know if your digital house is secure before you put your life savings into it? Well, the answer is something called a smart contract audit. And honestly, it's the single most important safety check in the entire DeFi space.
The best way to wrap your head around an audit is to think of it like something we all get, a home inspection, right? Before you buy a house, you hire a pro to check the foundation, the wiring, the plumbing, everything. A smart contract audit is the exact same idea, just for your digital property.
So what is it really? It's a super detailed line-by-line inspection of a project's code, done by outside security experts. Their entire job is to hunt down any potential cracks, weak spots, or bugs before the contract is launched and before anyone's money is on the line.
I mean, the parallel is just perfect. You would never risk your savings on a house with a shaky foundation, would you? So why would you risk your digital assets on a protocol that hasn't been professionally inspected? One protects your physical home, the other protects your digital one. Simple as that.
Okay, so what does this digital home inspection actually look like in practice? It's not just a quick glance. It's a really systematic process with clear, distinct steps.
It basically boils down to 4 key stages. First up is scoping. Think of this as the auditors and the project team agreeing on which rooms of the house need inspecting. Then comes the analysis. This is the really deep dive, where auditors are hunting for every possible vulnerability. After that, you get the reporting, which is a detailed list of every single problem they found. And finally, and this part is so crucial, is verification. The developers fix the problems, and then the auditors come back to double-check that every repair was done right.
Now, that analysis part, that's where the real magic happens. But you have to wonder, how do you inspect code that you can't even see or touch? Well, auditors have 2 main tools in their toolbox for checking that digital wiring.
They're called static analysis and dynamic analysis. Static analysis is like looking at the architect's blueprints before the house is built. You're just reading the code, not running it, to find design flaws. Dynamic analysis is the complete opposite. It's like going into the finished house and stress testing it. You turn on all the faucets, flush all the toilets, and plug things in to see if you can make something break. You're actively running the code to see how it holds up under pressure.
All right, so audits are great for preventing disaster, we get that. But their real impact goes way beyond just plain defense. An audit is one of the most powerful signals of trust in this market. And that trust, well, that's what actually drives real, measurable growth.
Here's the thing to remember. In a decentralized world where there are no banks or regulators to protect you, a third-party audit basically becomes a stamp of approval. It's a project telling the entire world, hey, we take your security seriously. It is the bedrock that all that confidence is built on. And look, you don't have to take my word for it. We've got the numbers to back this up. A big study from HKUST found that in just their first week, audited projects saw a 37% increase in what's called total value locked. That's the amount of money people have put into the project. It shows this huge, immediate surge of confidence. And it's not just about attracting big money. The exact same study found that these audited projects also pulled in 42% more users in that same week. So an audit doesn't just reassure the big investors, it builds trust with everyday users, which is what you need for a project to really take off.
So all of this leads us to the most practical part. How can you use this knowledge? Well, when you're looking at a new DeFi project, you can actually do your own little check on their audit. Here's a super simple checklist you can follow.
First off, is there even a report? If the answer is no, that is a huge red flag. Second, who actually did the audit?
You want to see names of well-known, respected security firms. Third, can you read the report yourself? Is it public? Transparency is everything. Fourth, actually look at the report. Were there any critical issues found? And more importantly, does the report say they were fixed? And last but not least, make sure the audit covers the exact version of the code that's live right now. You want to know that the code you're about to interact with is the code that was actually checked.
Which leaves us with this final thought. In an ecosystem that's all about being trustless, where the code itself is supposed to be the final word, isn't it fascinating that our confidence still relies on such a human process? A group of experts basically giving their professional seal of approval. It kind of suggests that even in the world of code and blockchains, trust isn't just something you can automate, it's something you still have to earn.